Welcome to the Distance Learning Consortium as we explore the SEL 3 signature practices for adults. My name is Colleen Ferreira, and I'll be presenting to you today on behalf of the Orange County Department of Education. Some objectives that we have for you today are helping you understand the foundations and benefits of social emotional learning, and to learn how to create structures that foster belonging and engagement for adults by using the 3 signature practices. Let's begin with a welcoming activity. Please make a goal for yourself. What are you hoping to walk away with today? This could be a goal for you personally, professionally, or for your colleagues when you're considering adult SEL. Please take a moment to make a goal. SEL is one of the 3 features in inclusive instruction within the California MTSS domain. Our focus today will be on universal supports within inclusive social emotional instruction. This is CASEL's wheel of the 5 core competencies. CASEL stands for the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. And in the center of the wheel, you can see the 5 colored competencies. These competencies are interrelated and oftentimes operating simultaneously. If we look at the orange of self-awareness and self-management, those are the intrapersonal skills, the skills within oneself. We look at the green for social awareness and relationship skills. Those are the interpersonal skills, skills between others, and responsible decision making. Now, the ways in which these competencies are supported are through the frames in blue that you see around the competencies. So how they're supported, it's through schools, classrooms, families, and communities. And how that's done is through SEL instruction, climate and culture, practices and policies, and partnerships and aligned learning opportunities. Now, to get granular about what exactly each of these competencies would look like in action, I'm going to share with you some of the skills that go with each of the competencies. Now, the skills I'll be showing you today are only a snapshot of a much broader list. If you're interested in looking at the full list, I highly encourage you to go onto casel.org. The link to that website is included in your resource document that accompanies this recording, and it will give you the full picture of skills with these competencies. But for today, I'll be sharing with you just a few. For self-awareness, you can expect youth and adults to be able to identify emotions, examine prejudices and biases, and have a growth mindset. For self-management, being able to manage one's emotions while also setting personal and collective goals. For social awareness, taking others' perspectives, identifying diverse social norms, including unjust ones. For relationship skills, developing positive relationships, demonstrating cultural competence, and standing up for the rights of others. And finally, responsible decision-making, identifying solutions for personal and social problems, while also demonstrating curiosity and open-mindedness. Now, research has shown that there are not only short-term benefits, but long-lasting effects for students when SEL is implemented systemically, including more positive attitudes towards schools, stronger interpersonal relationships, and college and career readiness. Research is also showing that there are equally beneficial advantages for adults with SEL. Research has shown that if adults are able to better be models for social emotional skills within the classroom, displaying stronger emotional intelligence, they're better supporting the students within their classroom to be able to display those skills and to be able to regulate their emotions as well. This leads to a more positive classroom climate and culture, which fosters an environment that better supports the adults within the classroom. And this positive feedback loop continues to feed into one another. This has been shown to decrease teacher burnout and teacher turnover. Now, the 3 signature practices are one tool to help foster conditions necessary to promote highly engaging and purposeful staff meetings and professional learning experiences, and a way to integrate SEL into routine work experiences for adults. It begins with a welcoming ritual, goes on to engaging practices, and ends with an optimistic closure. We're going to take a look at each one of these more deeply. First, a welcoming ritual establishes safety and predictability, supports all voices, sets norms for respectful listening, and it allows colleagues to connect with one another to create a sense of belonging. A welcoming activity can be highly effective if it's intentionally chosen, connected to the content, engaging, and thoughtfully debriefed. Some examples for community building are the use of open-ended questions for peer share and whole group response. Additionally, a check-in is an alternate way where individuals finish sentence starters. Check-ins are a little bit more personal that really give some feedback about how the individual is feeling or thinking in that moment, whereas community building discussions are more generalized to build community in the discussion process. Now, adults also want to make their own meaning and have fun. Engaging practices are brain-compatible strategies that offer adults opportunities to practice SEL skills, which help to foster relationships, empowerment, and collaboration while intentionally building adult SEL skills. Some examples include interaction opportunities, which includes think time, turning to your partner, think, ink, pair, share, where they're collaborating together, and also a stand and stretch break or a brain break, which is a more reflective opportunity. Now, it's important to balance interactive and reflective time to provide space for integrating new information into long-term memory, or else it will soon be forgotten. Now, lastly, an optimistic closure allows for reflection with an intentional closure and provides space for meaningful closure. It reinforces the content, and it creates momentum towards the next steps. Now, the word optimistic does not necessarily require positivity or cheer, but it promotes an individual and shared understanding to create momentum towards the work ahead. Some examples include reflective questions about next steps or finishing sentence stems about how they feel moving forward. The 3 signature practices are based on research around adult learning. Now, research shows that adults learn best when they're involved in their own learning, they can use their own experiences, and they're working on topics that are relevant to their roles. Adults who walk into meetings after a day of difficult situations really need calming, centering, and focusing routines to participate fully. For learning to be purposeful, adults need direct, concrete experiences to use when they've learned and structures that promote self-direction. By building in these practices and connecting them to the goals of your meeting or professional learning, it results in a welcoming, productive, and collaborative work environment while also supporting their SEL competencies. Now that we've gone through an overview, I want to take a look at a concrete example that you could use for your own staff meeting or professional learning event. Promoting student engagement is a salient topic in education leadership, especially with the challenges distance learning brings. Modeling best practices that promote engagement among adult educators is important in creating a culture where these practices become routine in classrooms. To connect SEL in supporting adult learning, begin with a welcoming ritual where the facilitator can pose a check-in question. What is one success you've had recently? Participants can answer to the whole group, they could share in a small group, or with a partner. Move on to engaging strategies during the content of your staff meeting or professional learning, where small groups of educators can work together on generating a list of ideas using the engaging strategy Think, Ink, Pair, Share or they can write down successes that they've had in supporting student engagement. Group reps then share their list aloud, and in between those share outs, the small groups have the turn to your partner practice time to make sense of the ideas that they have shared. Then remember to give stand and stretch breaks throughout this professional learning, depending on how long the event is, so that the adults have some downtime to be able to process the new information. And then finally end with an optimistic closure by posing the reflective question, what are my next steps now? To help them connect that content personally with what they're working on and in their role. Now we have come to our own optimistic closure. Please think back to your goal. What are your next steps for integrating SEL? Think back to the overview of the 3 signature practices. Think back to our concrete example. In your role, in your capacity, what are your next steps for SEL integration to support adult SEL within your system? And on behalf of the California Collaborative for Educational Excellence and the Orange County Department of Education, I hope you have seen something that has moved you to action, shifted your thinking on how SEL can support adult SEL competencies, and you are looking forward to your next steps on your SEL journey. Thank you.